Hey, Mr. Pydude here, and this is another Hex TCG video. Today I'm going to be bringing you my top 10 PvP commons that are out right now. Keep in mind, this is only my opinion. This is not a hard fact. You can definitely have your own opinion, but this is just going to give you some insight on what I think are the best cards so far in terms of commons. So at number 10 we have Oracle Song. It's of course a common, but it's a 3 resource cost, 1 Sapphire Threshold basic action, and it just reads target champion, draws 2 cards. It might not look like much, but compared to the other cards in the set 1 right now, it's one of the best draw cards in the game, not just for commons. The only card that I really can compare this to is Pact of Pain, which it is a rare, but it's a 3 resource cost, 2 blood threshold constant, and it reads pay 2 mana, pay 2 health, and draw a card. Now, to draw the amount of cards that Oracle Song does, you have to pay 4 health and pay 7 resources. Now, I know this is a constant, you can draw more than 2 cards, but I mean, Pact of Pain, I think, is maybe a little better than Oracle Song, but in terms of commons, Oracle Song is really powerful. So now we will be going on to number 9, Kraken Mariner. Now, I don't know if you guys think this card is pretty good, but I personally think it's really, really good just because of the Inspire ability. Let's go over the card first. It's a 1 resource, 1 diamond threshold troop, a human rogue. It's a 1/1, and its Inspire ability reads, as another troop with cost equal or greater than this troop's cost enters play under your control, it gets permanent +1 defense. No attack boost. But the reason I think this card is so good is because it inspires everything that comes on the field, since it's only 1 cost. And a lot of the cards released in this set do about like 2 damage. Like 3 defense seems to be the magic number in terms of not getting killed by a lot of cards. So if you have a lot of 2 defense troops in your deck, this can really, really help them out. And as I said before, it inspires everything, it gives everything a boost, and that's why I think this card is so good. So coming in at number 8, we have another card with an Inspire ability, Ruby Pyromancer. It's a 2 resource cost, 1 Ruby threshold, human mage troop, and it again has an Inspire ability. Basically the same as Kraken Mariner. Instead, it boosts attack by 1. It also has 1 more attack, so it's a 2/1 instead of a 1/1. The reason I like Ruby Pyromancer better than the Mariner is that first of all, it's a Ruby, so it will probably see play in a aggro deck, and +1 attack really helps in aggro decks. And plus it is a 2/1, so it's got more attack than Mariner, and it helps the aggro decks more. If you're playing a diamond deck, you probably want to have more defense, but I don't think that defense will matter too much, or not as much as the Ruby Pyromancer boosting attack. So coming in at number 7, we have Buccaneer. So this is a 3 resource, 1 Sapphire threshold human rogue troop again. And it reads, when this troop enters play, you may put target troop into its owner's hand. If you do, it gets permanent cost +1. It is a 2/2 troop, so it's basically a removal card mixed in with a troop. Like on turn 3, you probably have a troop out, your opponent probably has a troop out, but you could play this, remove that, and I mean if your opponent played a 3 resource cost troop on turn 3, you basically play Buccaneer down, return it to its owner's hand, and they basically wasted that turn. And you could swing, for damage with the other creature or whatever. I mean, this card is pretty good. It's especially good in draft. It only has 1 Sapphire threshold. And, I mean, it's removal, and it's also a troop, so it can do damage. It can, chump block if you need it to. So coming in at number 6, we have Thunderbird, another Sapphire troop. It's a 2 resource cost, 2 Sapphire threshold. Bird Spirit card, a 1/1, but with its Rage 1 ability, when this troop attacks, it gets permanent +1/+0. It's basically a 2/1 when it attacks, and this is permanent, so if it goes to the graveyard, if you resurrect it somehow, if you play it, then it's a 2/1. So it's only a 2 cost, and it has evasion and attacks for 2. So I mean, this is potentially a bomb. As I said in my earlier draft simulator video, it's potentially a bomb as a common. So really good in draft if you're playing mono Sapphire, and also good in constructed because it's only a 2 cost. So if you're playing mono Sapphire, I think this card will see play. So at number 5, we have Sapper's Charge. It's this card. The reason why I think it's so good is that it can be played in any deck. I think it's going to be a staple in a lot of decks. It's just a 1 resource artifact that you play, but its ability is basic ability, so you can't play it on your opponent's turn, which is a big blow to Sapper's Charge. That's the reason why it's at number 5 and not higher. Just for 2 mana, sacrifice this artifact and deal 2 damage to target troop or champion. And, you know, its removal, it's a good removal. As I said, a lot of cards deal 2 damage. That's why 3 is the magic number, but, you know, it can deal damage to target champion. It could help you win the game there. It could kill some troops. It could do whatever you want. It's very versatile. It can be played in any type of deck, since it doesn't have any threshold. It's just an artifact. So that's why I think Sapper's Charge is so good. And coming in number 4, we have Countermagic. This is one of the few counter cards so far in Hex. It just reads, interrupt target card. Each card in an opposing zone with the same name as that card gets permanent cost +2. It's a 3 resource card with 2 Sapphire threshold. And it does have 2 Sapphire threshold, so you probably want to play this in a mono Sapphire deck. You could play it maybe in a Sapphire Blood Control deck, but you know, running a risk there of not drawing enough Sapphires. But what this does is it counters anything, and it permanent cost, of course, gets +2. But if your opponent is playing, say, an Uranus, that's a high cost. Like Uranus is a 7 cost. If you counter that, they're probably going to wait like 5 turns before actually getting it out. So that could potentially win you the game there. Or if your opponent is playing, let's say, a Extinction to wipe out your entire field, so you can't swing for the win or something, you can counter that, win the game that way. It's very versatile, as it can counter any card. Buccaneer, which was lower on this list, can only remove troops. That's why Countermagic, I think, is much better than Buccaneer. So at number 3, Inner Conflict. Now you can look at this card. It's a 2 resource cost, 1 diamond threshold that reads target troop gets permanent. This troop can't attack or block. Now you could look at this card and say, well, it's just like pacifism in Magic, and it's not the greatest. But keep in mind, in Hex, it's a digital card game, so they can do stuff like it's permanent, can't attack or block. So if it goes to the graveyard, if it goes back to my opponent's hand, if it does anything, it still can't attack or block. And, I mean, it does not shut down the ability, which is kind of a bummer. That's why this card isn't like number 1 or something. But let's bring up Uranus again. If my opponent plays Uranus and I play Inner Conflict the next turn, it can't attack, and it basically can't use its ability. So, I mean, Inner Conflict are really good cards. It's only a basic action, so not as good as number 1 and 2. But it's a very solid card, could see play in a lot of decks. And number 2, we have Burn, which a lot of you might associate this with, I think it was Lightning Bolt in Magic, where it's the same cost and it deals 3 damage. But Burn is a 1 resource cost, 1 ruby threshold that deals only 2 damage to target champion and troop. I mean, see, it's another 2 damage. But it's a quick action. If your opponent plays a card, you can play Burn, wipe it out, just take it right off the field. I think it's better than Inner Conflict because it kills the creature. It does not allow it to do abilities, nothing funny like that. And it's a quick action, so you can play it on your opponent's turn. More versatile than Inner Conflict, being able to do damage to your opponent or their troops. So, I mean, Burn is number 2, and the top card on this list you probably know. Number 1 is Murder. Now, it's a 3 resource cost, 1 blood threshold. It's a quick action, which, again, is better than Inner Conflict's basic action, and it's destroy target troop. So no matter what the defense, however many crazy abilities, let's say like I don't know what is it called in Hex, but in Magic it was like Hexproof or something like that. But Murder just destroys it. So any monster, not monster, that's Yu-Gi-Oh, but any troop that your opponent has is wiped out with Murder. I mean, if you're playing a control deck, you could have so many options with this card and Countermagic. I mean, with your resources on the field, if you leave 3 resources open on every turn, your opponent doesn't know what you have in your hand. You can have Countermagic, you can have Murder. But I mean, Murder's so versatile, so devastating, it could potentially win you the game. I mean, when looking at this list, or when making this list, I kind of looked at this like, could these cards change the game, change the board states, you know, anything like that? Murder, Burn, Inner Conflict, they all can change the board and allow you to win the game. So I think that'll be the end of the video. Hope you guys liked it. After this, I'm planning on uploading, you know, top 10 PvP uncommons, rares, legendaries. And with legendaries, I'm only going to do top 5 since they only have 17 cards. And after that, I might do, I don't know, top 10 draft or limited or whatever cards. But yeah, hope you liked the video. Make sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned for another Hex video.